What's up, you guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today is a very exciting day because it is episode 1 of my brand new series, Beyond the Kicks. This is a series where I get to speak one-on-one with an individual and just kind of get to know them, what it is that they do. But I always do wind that conversation back to sneakers because I know a lot of you guys are tuning in for sneaker talk. Without further ado, my first guest, very excited. He just started his YouTube channel in November of last year. He's already got one level of monetization done. He is one of the best audio engineers in the Pacific Northwest. His name is Randy Ross from Undercaste Studios. What's up, y'all? So I am here with my guy Randy from Undercaste, and I wanted to ask Randy a bunch of questions.
Asking all them questions. Asking all them questions. Why you asking all them questions?
And the first question is because I know a lot of my audience might not necessarily know who Randy is, what he does. If you could just tell the people who you are, what you do, and why you decided to start a YouTube channel.
Sure. My name's Randy Ross. I'm an audio engineer out here in the Northwest, working at Undercaste Studios. I got the branding everywhere. I've been doing this for 16 years full time here at the studio. Been working with Wiz for, I feel like, the entire time.
Yes.
You know, in and out, you know, working on different stuff. Just I love music. I love making music. I love talking about artist development and things like that. So I started to make a YouTube channel dedicated to trying to see if I could help artists succeed and also learn what it feels like myself in the process.
And we're going to jump into all of that. There's a lot of things that I want to ask Randy based off of how I know him, but then also how I've been able to enjoy his channel. And speaking of his channel, it's relatively new, right? Like, you started the channel in November of last year. Mm-hmm. So for those of you who have been following me for a long time, you guys know that my channel has been, I want to say it's right when the pandemic started, and it really just kind of started as something that I just like to do. It was like a new hobby because of the pandemic, and I just wanted to talk about sneakers because as you guys know, I love sneakers. This is a sneaker channel, but there's so much more to me besides the sneakers piece. And so I was just curious, like, your channel has had really, really great growth since November. Like, we're talking, you've already had one of those monetizations with YouTube. Mm-hmm. So could you kind of speak to that, how you got the growth to happen so fast?
Okay, so it's been, what, almost 5 months now?
Yeah.
Something like that, yeah. So I've released 48 or 49 full-length videos.
It's a lot.
But I started before that just posting to Instagram almost every single day. So it's been almost a year of posting. But I was doing short-form content. When I started doing YouTube, I actually really loved the long-form stuff because I like to rant a lot.
I don't know what we're yelling about!
And my videos are, you know, usually 10 to 15 minutes, which is really tough to do on a, you know, short form content. So it felt like home. I did have a couple videos get pretty big. Some of them were talking about AI and music.
We're going to talk about that.
Yeah. And, you know, but, you know, to me, it's the growth might have, when you're in it, like, you might know this, like, it's just day-to-day stuff. Yeah. Like, it doesn't feel like you're like, whoa, this is really big, or, you know, it's just, I feel like I'm seeing a consistency kind of growth. So I'm trying to release 2, maybe 3 videos a week and try to stay consistent on it. That's my whole goal. And I just want to stay consistent. You know, that's what all I'm about. If I could do this for a couple years, whether or not it gets successful, then to me, that's like, you know, the biggest goal that I could achieve.
You know, you mentioned consistency, and speaking of consistency, you have always been very consistent in the way that you approach audio engineering. And obviously that's how you're taking it to this channel. When it comes to that, you've always been very consistent with trying to help artists. And I know that because this guy has helped my music career immensely. A lot of your channel is focused on how to help artists or people that want to start a YouTube channel. So could you talk about why that's important to you as far as like helping people that want to get better at music or even want to get into the YouTube space?
Yeah, it's dedicated towards musicians first, but honestly, it's anybody who wants to release content. I mean, you could be a lawnmower and, you know, review lawnmower equipment, and I feel like this type of stuff can still apply. But to me, you know, being in session with artists for decades, even before I started working here at the studio, I was always trying to figure out like how can we rally everybody together and learn how to promote better and get our names out there, and how does this music business work? And nowadays, now is how does the content business work?
Yeah.
And our topic happens to be music or sneakers, and I'm in session every single day talking to artists that are trying to figure that out as well. So we have daily conversations trying to figure out, what is your music about? Where is the audience? How do we make that connection? And I was like, you know what? I really want to just start a channel about this because I deeply care about it.
Yeah.
And something that, if you're trying to start a channel, if it's something that you deeply can talk about for just forever without being on camera or motivation for money or anything like that, then I think that that's a really good starting point for building a channel. If it's something that you have to like really just mundanely try to figure out like what kind of topics you want to talk about, and it's really tough to kind of like figure that out, but you're doing it for the money, that to me is like, that's not where I wanted to start. To me, it was just consistency of something that I can make a lot of, and ranting a lot is what I do. So that's my topic.
The highest engaged videos is your video about Suno. And for those of you that don't know, this is an AI music app. Am I saying that correctly?
Yeah.
Basically. It's crazy to think, because as a musician, ChatGPT, Google, AI in general, just all of those things are, I think sometimes it can be a crutch for a lot of musicians or artists, because it kind of takes the heart out of what I think makes something special and unique.
Yeah.
But if you use the right way, they can kind of help, because you can use it as a tool to, oh, okay, I need to hear how this would actually sound over a beat, and now I can kind of switch up my cadence or whatever it might be. So I was just curious, because again, for people that aren't familiar, what's your take? Of course, we can't go on for 15 or 20 minutes about it, but when it comes to AI in the music space.
Okay, so long story short, I see it as like a separate category of music creation. And I see these kind of, how deep you want to go into music is all up to you. So if you're somebody who wants to be in a band and practice instrumentation, like of different instruments and different skill levels, and spend your entire life trying to develop that, then that is, the most classical version of making music and recording and promoting music. And that to me is like a great like North Star of like where to eventually try to bring yourself to. Growing up in the rap world, we kind of took shortcuts, as some might say, the controversial take, but like the drum machine came out, and all of a sudden, what is the drummer going to do when the drum machine is out there? So it was a step in a slightly different direction on how to create music. And then, if you fast forward all to today, you can start just by singing some melodies and or writing some lyrics and seeing what it actually sounds like as a finished product. But obviously that comes with problems. All of these situations that you get yourself into come with some problems. So one piece of advice that I usually try to give to people, and the video that I got all the views on it, I was coming at it from an engineer's perspective, working with musicians that are bringing in AI music. Now, before a lot of these people were not making music. They did not really, they like to make lyrics or like write lyrics and stuff like that, but this is something that actually got them into the love of actually making music. So
Wow.
yeah, so so I see it as a different category, and it's like now they're inspired, but in the meantime I'm guiding them, telling them, like, hey, the quality level isn't that great right now on Suno, and people are going to say this about this, kind of creation, and you eventually could get yourself into a thing where you're working with real musicians, and writing songs with them. And I see these as like stepping stones. So to me, it's like, if you're respecting the process, and you could still get yourself into that world where you're creating and going as far as you would like, or not like, some people just want to have fun making music, and they're not worried about getting rich and famous. And I think, and to me, that's like the most like beautiful thing about music or hobbies in general, like, is just like, it's supposed to be something fun, and that's where it should start. That's where it should always live. And then maybe later on down the line you make it into a career, and that's when you got to start worrying about all of the problems with
Yeah.
AI creation. The biggest problem with AI is it could kind of make you lazy. But that's the same thing with a lot of technology. Like
Yeah.
this technology right here, I could do insane things with, and that doesn't mean that, you know, we can't do those things and also try to get better at the same time. So I always just encourage people, always try to get better, practice your scales, you know, learn your craft, become an expert at what you're trying to achieve for the love of it, not first, you know, not just for, you know, getting rich and famous. But one thing I want to say to that is like, this happens every single time somebody brings in Suno. It's going to over sing it. It's going to try to create like the best rendition of something, quote unquote. But I don't want to hear that. I want to hear your version.
Yeah, facts.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because this is a huge deal to me. Like, your contribution to music comes with the whatever flaws or, you know, skill levels, or it's your opinion, it's your take on music, and I would rather hear that than a perfect version of that thing with some source material, you know, injected into it.
Right.
You know, and that's how it goes. It's like the perfect performance is one that is raw and is real and has full of emotion, and if you can do that and be the best guitar player in the world at the same time, that's cool. But that's only one person that is the best.
Yeah.
You know, everything else is opinion, and that is like, that's why I try to really reiterate that with people all the time. Like, I want to hear you. I don't care if that person hit the AI hit the high notes all crazy and sang it in a way that you never could. It's like, I would rather you kind of like stress your voice out and really try. That to me means so much more. I feel like the audience would appreciate that too.
Yeah, and I think to give you props. So anytime I record here with Randy, and it's almost like he's my own personal AI, right? But if I'm in the booth and I'm just not hitting a certain line right, or if he thinks of an idea that might potentially make it stronger, that's where the collaboration comes in. And I'd rather collaborate with a human who actually cares about what I'm doing for a reason than obviously with just AI trying to perfect something.
I don't think it's just an AI issue. I think it's a social communication issue. You know, back in my day, we had to go out to the to the venues and promote ourselves and shake hands and talk to each other in real life. And you'll see, not to get too down this road, but you'll see the younger generation not needing to do that, because they could just be on Discord with each other, you know, downloading movies and, you know, and watching them with each other. And it's like, gives you that comfort of your own home kind of thing. So AI is almost like a symptom of the main problem. It's like AI is primed to be successful in this environment that's already created, you know, especially since the vid happened.
Message!
YouTube specific now. In addition to, of course, the audio engineering piece, you are talking about what it takes to actually have a successful YouTube channel. Regardless of what it is that you do, kind of like you mentioned, like if you're going to, you know, make a YouTube channel about lawnmowers, okay, well, what are you going to actually put into it? In one of your videos, you did talk about the importance of kind of like diversifying content. Could you kind of go a little bit more into detail about that, why you think it's important to have diverse content?
I think that it's important to kind of understand what kind of channel that you're going to have before you start. So it'd be in the context of, you know, like for me, I'll use myself as an example, but to help artists get better at content creation, which is a huge problem. So I am trying to be the potential solution to that problem. And for me to do that, I need to start a channel and learn how it works. So I'm not there yet, but I'm just getting started and telling you about my journey as we go. And hopefully that's relatable to people that feel the same things. For example, if you get a video with 10,000 views and then the next video gets 30 views, you know, there's psychological things that happen when that happens. And knowing how that feels and how to push through it and things like that, I think is really important. Now, as far as the diversity within that system, it's like, you should have fun making all these different things. Like if you try to hone in on one very specific thing, there could be something about your channel that people actually really resonate with that is something that you didn't try. So while you're, especially in the beginning phases, it's good to just like constantly experiment. In fact, there's like a percentage. It's like 70% of what you're doing should be on your original mission statement of what your channel or your content is about. The other 30% is messing around with different ideas, constantly planting seeds in different directions. Same thing with musicians creating songs. It's like you want to create a bunch of different kinds of songs and see what the audience resonates with, as hopefully something that you love that resonates, and then you can make more of those at the same time.
We all on YouTube, for the most part, want to have monetization, right? Because that, if nothing else, provides legitimacy to the channel, but it also kind of pays us back for the time that we put into this.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot. For those of you guys who have not actually attempted to do a YouTube channel, there is so much work that goes into it. And Randy works crazy hours. I know that I work a ton of different hours for multiple different jobs. So why, in your opinion, is monetization important to a YouTube channel?
It's definitely not the most important piece. To me, it's just like you set goals to accomplish. And when you set goals that are accomplishable, like getting monetized or, the different stages of monetization, you can then set your daily goals that meet up with that expectation. So for example, I was like, I want to get monetized within a year, which means I need to constantly make videos to be able to hit that. If I just came out with one video 1 month and one video, that doesn't build a consistency that is going to support that beyond like the lottery ticket mentality where like one video just shoots up and then monetizes your channel. But
Right.
I don't believe in that kind of mentality. To me, it's like the main goal, the thing that I think is the most important, is to learn how to develop consistency in what you're doing and find a way to love doing that. So for me, like, I was like, I want to get monetized, sure, but I want to be able to talk on camera without feeling awkward by myself in a room, which is extremely hard for me. Some people are good at it. I am not. Like,
I struggle too. It's tough.
Yeah, the first like 100 videos that I was working on, I couldn't get a sentence out without like stuttering or losing track of thought, because it's just weird not talking to a human. Like, I feel like a real conversation is so much easier than trying to like figure out your thoughts and package them the way content creators like to do. So there's so many other things that come along with getting monetized that are a goal. And I think it's good to look at those, but like my goal is to be, man, if I could do this for 5 years, that would be awesome. And if I could earn $1 million a day, that would be even more awesome. But I'm not going to start with that expectation. I'm just going to be like, I want to get monetized. I want to be able to talk better on camera. But this is something that I believe in, something I've been wanting to do for a long time. And so this is just my way of trying it. And the only way to give it a real try is to give it that consistent try over time. If I just make a couple of videos and they flop and then I just stop, then it's just not worth it to start.
Yeah.
So I went into it knowing that I was like, okay, I got 1,000 videos to make and they're all going to flop. So if I can accept that and make those 1,000 videos anyways, then my mental space is ready to start. If I'm like, nah, that's not an option, then I shouldn't start.
When it comes to, as long as you've been doing music, because again, it predates the 16 years that you've been doing like audio engineering as a profession, right? Like, you've always been into music and like kind of working, so to speak, within music. And this is going to be a tough one, but if you had to say, what is your favorite 3 musical moments that you've been able to experience?
Oh, favorite 3?
Yeah.
Everything that grows well over time is a bunch of like small milestones. Like, to me, like, I love those things.
Yeah.
Being able to quit my job and become a full-time engineer was a huge one.
It's a big one.
I worked at a warehouse, and knowing my schedule for the next 2 years, it was very consistent. And I love consistency. So it was nice to know that, you wake up, you go to work, you do your thing, and then you come home. But jumping into this, it's like, you don't know what's happening next week. You have no idea, much less 2 years from now. Like, so it was a huge switch. And as much as when I think back on it, it wasn't necessarily like a hooray moment. Like, we did it, like, like a big festival kind of situation.
Right.
It was more or less like you just hit the ground running.
Yeah.
But before that, I was doing the warehouse plus I was doing engineering at the same time. So it was like, I was getting ready for that moment and then just hit the ground running. And it was just like it's a different kind of lifestyle doing that full time.
Right.
You know, another interesting one would be like the show, like with Repent and my guy Brandon. He, like, all three of us, like, we went to perform for the first time in Everett at this venue. Man, I forgot the name of it. I think they closed down, but we were, you know, under 18, and we had to, like, we were so excited because, like, we were like practicing in Brandon's like basement, like just like trying to see if we could just rap the thing all the way through, you know. I was trying to rap at that time, and you know, we went to this venue, and since we were under, you know, 21 actually, like we couldn't even like hang out. We had to basically perform and then get out.
Classic.
And so like that waiting time of just like being off to the side and somewhere where, you know, we're not even supposed to be, and like it being a bad performance, like I don't know, just something about that was like extremely memorable for me. You know, those bad performances, like there's like three people in the crowd, like one of them, you know, and like they're kind of like not really with it, but you build up this ego, and then, you know, just like the music industry always does, it just has a way of just chipping away at your ego over time.
Yes.
You know, hopefully. Yes. To bring you something recent, getting the Studio B done was a huge accomplishment. I've always wanted to build a studio, and when I first started working at Undercaste, Isaac Meek, the owner, had a Studio A already open. And so when I started, I just started working in that studio, same building. But right around 2020, when it first, like right at the beginning of 2020, we started really building this place and tearing it down and trying to reconstruct it. And Isaac let me in on the actual building process and the design process. So I got to help make a ton of decisions in the studio and help, you know, with the day-to-day of how to actually build a studio from the ground up. And if anybody who knows Isaac, he likes to do everything by himself. He doesn't like to hire things out. So
it's true.
This is all there's a fully custom desk, like everything, like even this right here, he made this, you know, just like he has to customize everything. So I got to be able to learn from that, and it was a long process. You know, if you've ever renovated anything on your house, it's like, oh, it'll take 3 months. No, it's a year. You know, it's going to be 10 times more money than you thought. And that's kind of how this was. You know, COVID hit, we shut down our studio, and we were still just like bored piece by piece. Every single little piece in the studio we did at a time. And I got to be involved with that. And when it opened up mid last year, it was just such a great feeling to have my hand in the whole process, and also like just kind of like get that accomplishment done. Yeah. Huge deal. It was so much work.
And this place is amazing. If you guys are looking for a place to record some music, I highly recommend that you check out Undercast Studios. So you guys know that this is, of course, a sneaker channel, and I could talk to Randy all day about music because it's just, I mean, we nerd out about it. Even when I've got my sessions, we'll spend probably half the time just talking about different topics. I do want to kind of bring it back to this channel's focus, which is sneakers. And I was just curious, what is your history with sneakers? Do you have any affinity for sneakers? What's your favorite sneakers? What do you think about sneaker culture? Just kind of curious on your take in this regard.
I love I'm not really a sneaker collector. So basically I wear fat guy running shoes because I'm a fat guy and I love running shoes. I had plantar fasciitis. Like I got that while I was actually trying to lose weight some years back, and I was like trying to find the best shoes.
Me too.
So the brand, how do you say, Saucony?
Oh yeah,
is that the right way to say it? Okay,
it's a great brand.
So those are my favorite. That's my favorite brand of just like everyday kind of shoe that I wear, and I started just wearing it every day just as a normal shoe. And also during the construction process, I was like going in and out of the studio and, you know, building stuff. So it's like having a shoe that was comfortable to stand in for a long time, and also I could do, you know, some miles in it. So I just started buying those, and I actually preferred those over regular sneakers. Getting ready for this interview, I was like, what kind of sneakers did I have growing up? Maybe you could tell me what this is. I don't know if it was Allen Iverson. Okay, so they were white with like black stripes over. I remember getting that in like the 90s. I might have to show you, like, send
I
a
wonder
picture
if
to you.
it was the Reebok, the Kamikazes, the Sean Kemp shoes. Were they high tops?
They might have been.
It could have been those.
But I remember loving. I was into sneakers when I was a kid, and I was into basketball. I was like collecting basketball cards. So I love the collection side of things. So like if you know shoe collections and appreciating details and the collectability of things, I love that kind of stuff. So you know, I even got some rookie cards, not Jordan, I wish I did, but a Kobe like rookie cards that I pulled back in the day.
Wow.
I refound those and I graded them, and you know, and like I just love the collection side of things.
Yeah.
I got back into card collecting. I think a lot of people did during the COVID time, but like the scalpers like really pushed up that market so much that it was like, I mean, I'm not trying to spend $200 on one pack of cards, you know, and it became really hard to do. Besides just buying like retail stuff.
You bring up a great point, because you guys know sneaker hype was like this, and now it's almost like this. Maybe we've plateaued a little bit, but during the pandemic, when I again started this channel, almost any like semi-hype sneaker, even if it was just like a general release, Jordan 1 or Dunk Low, was reselling for like double, triple, sometimes quadruple what the retail price was.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, with the collection piece, there's going to come, and you see this with the cards, there's going to come the reseller piece. And a lot of people are doing it specifically just to make money. They don't really have a love or affinity for what they're flipping. And that to me has kind of always been the biggest negative, is because I've loved sneakers, just like what you said, really since I was like a little kid, and growing up in the 80s and 90s, especially basketball sneakers, with all the guys that had their like, you know, their PEs and all the guys that had their signature shoes. It was just so cool, and you just wanted to have that. And now being at this age where you can get things that you like, that you do want to add to your collection, and the fact that you sometimes have to pay, and you guys know, again, for sneaker hype, we're talking a shoe that's going to be $200 sneaker retail is going to resell for like $1,500. And that's frustrating. So that piece of it is definitely one of the negatives that I see. But like to your point, if you really do love something, in your opinion, is it worth spending a lot more money on it?
To me, the resellers ruined the hobby side of it.
To me, the resellers ruined the hobby side of it.
Almost instantly.
Yep.
But I do love like searching for things that I like. Like I was like, okay, maybe I'm not just opening up like a bunch of packs of cards or something like that. But I was like maybe I would look for certain rookie cards of my favorite like players back in the day, you know, or something like that. So I started to go down like vintage cards and stuff like that. So I started to go down that route, and that was cool to kind of like, you know, get deeper and just to kind of navigate it and try to find a way that works for me, that it's also, you know, fun to mess with. But obviously, just like any kind of market, it's like once the resellers take it to an absurd level to where only like rich people could handle it, it's like it just makes it harder to justify for me.
Right.
You know, everything that I buy, I scrutinize the you know, everything about every single detail about it, partially for fun and partially because I want to make sure that what I'm buying is like makes sense to buy.
Absolutely.
And all that kind of stuff. So it's like when something gets past a certain point, I'm like, I just can't buy this just because, you
right.
know. So I don't know if the market cooling down for your world is like kind of made things a little bit more manageable and make more sense. But
financially, yes. Here's the funny part though, but the traction for the channel, no. So because of the fact that sneaker hype has kind of died down, if it's not about a hype sneaker that people just want to get because they want to resell it, then people aren't going to be really as interested in watching a video about a sneaker that maybe they're just like, oh, that's not a Travis Scott, or that's not, you know, like this super limited off-white sneaker. And that piece of it, as far as the content creator side, is a little bit frustrating.
So finding the right audience, again, that's always like the hardest thing, is finding, especially in a niche market.
Yes.
Finding the audience, like that era of content creation, it must have been great, because just like with anything, it was just like a cash grab. Everybody was like fascinating, like it was just
100%.
You know, it was just like crazy. But the truth is like now is probably, you know, better. And if you could stay with it during these times, you know, and still try to grow the channel organically over time, if something hypes back up or something happens again, it's like the foundation of your channel is developed to a point where it could actually capitalize so much better next time around. But then again, you know, we build our businesses off of the lows, not the highs. So I kind of, it sucks, but you know, I see how that goes. You know?
Yeah, I get it. Okay, last question before I let Randy go. What is your personal favorite sneaker brand? It doesn't mean that you have to actually purchase or consume, but like if you just see, like for example, most people are going to say Nike, and that's fine, but you got Jordan brand, you got Adidas, you got Saucony, you got Vans, Puma. There's so many. So is there one particular brand that just kind of stands out to you when you think sneakers?
I feel like I have to say Nike.
That's okay.
I'm basic, you know.
Nothing wrong with that.
You know, I just go for the what I know. But the truth is you know, I'm not going to show you guys my shoes, but my shoes are busted. Okay.
Nothing wrong with that.
They could hang out with some chickens and be okay. If I had like a new pair of Jordans, which I would absolutely love, honestly, so maybe that could be like a right up there neck and neck. I would ruin them so fast.
Busted.
It would be disrespectful, you know. So I slowed down on buying them just because of that. I don't know. Maybe after this, I'm gonna have to like look into it and find something and give you an update.
I like it. Well, Randy, I appreciate you hopping on the channel with me, man. It's been so much fun. Like I told you guys, this guy is one of the premier audio engineers in all of the Pacific Northwest. He is phenomenal at what he does.
Thank you.
Thank you for taking the time to talk to me. Thank you for talking to the channel. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and stay tuned. We got some more guests coming up. Peace and love.
See you guys.
I said, if y'all are ready to laugh your dicks off, let me hear you say yeah. All right, then it's Randy time. Let's do this shit. First joke.